Welcome, readers, to a new segment I would like to call Mythology Monday. Now, considering that the new Hercules movie has come out, I decided to do this new little segment, and hopefully every week I'll do a new myth. And since Hercules has come out, I'm going to start with the 12 Labors of Hercules, and then at the end do like a little bit of review and the comparisons between the two, the myth and the movie. So here we go. Hercules is the son of a mortal, Alcmena, and the god Zeus. Because Hera is hostile to all children of her husband by mortal mothers, she decides to be revenged upon the child. She sends 2 snakes to kill Hercules in his crib. But the infant strangles the serpents with ease. When Hercules grew up and had become a great warrior, he married Megara. They had 2 children. However, Hera causes Hercules to go insane with rage. In his insanity, Hercules murdered his family. Seeking redemption, Hercules performed 12 labors given to him by King Eurystheus of Tiryns. For 12 years, he traveled all over to complete these incredible tasks. Labor 1. Kill the Nemean lion. This monster of a lion had a hide that was so tough that no arrow could pierce it. Hercules stunned the beast with his olive wood club and then strangled it with his bare hands. It is said that he skinned the lion using the lion's sharp claws, and ever after wore its hide. Labor 2. Kill the Lernaean Hydra. The evil snake-like Hydra had 9 heads. If one got cut off, 2 would grow in its place. But Hercules quickly sliced off 8 heads, while his charioteer, Iolaus, sealed the wounds with a torch. Hercules then buried the last head under stone. Hercules made poisonous arrows by dipping them in the Hydra's blood. Labor 3. Capture the Ceryneian hind. The goddess Artemis loved and protected this stubborn little deer, which had gold horns. Hercules found it a challenge to capture the delicate hind without hurting it and making Artemis angry. After following the hind for an entire year, he safely carried it away. Labor 4. Capture the Erymanthian boar. The people of Mount Erymanthus lived in fear of this deadly animal. Hercules chased the wild boar up the mountain and into a snowdrift. He then took it in a net and brought it to King Eurystheus, who was so frightened of the beast that he hid in a huge bronze jar. Labor 5. Clean the Augean stables. Thousands of cows lived in these stables, belonging to King Augeas. They had not been cleaned in 30 years, but Hercules was told to clean them completely in a single day. To do so, he made 2 rivers bend so that they flowed into the stables, sweeping out the filth. Labor 6. Kill the Stymphalian birds. These murderous birds lived around Lake Stymphalus. Their claws and beaks were sharp as metal, and their feathers flew like darts. Hercules scared them out of their nests with a rattle and then killed them with the poisonous arrows he made from the Hydra's blood. Labor 7. Capture the Cretan bull. This savage bull, kept by King Minos of Crete, was said to be insane and breathe fire. Hercules wrestled the mad beast to the ground and brought it back to King Eurystheus. Unfortunately, the king set it free and it roamed Greece, causing terror wherever it went. Labor 8. Capture the horses of Diomedes. King Diomedes fed his bloodthirsty horses on human flesh. Hercules and his men fought and killed King Diomedes and fed the king to his horses. This made the horses tame, so that Hercules was able to lead them to King Eurystheus. Labor 9. Take the girdle of the Amazon queen Hippolyte. Hercules went to the land of the Amazon, where the queen welcomed him and agreed to give him her girdle for Eurystheus' daughter. But Hera spread the rumor that Hercules came as an enemy. In the end, he had to conquer the Amazons and steal the golden belt. Labor 10. Capture the cattle of Geryon. Geryon, a winged monster with 3 human bodies, had a herd of beautiful red cattle. He guarded the prize herd with the help of a giant and a vicious 2-headed dog. Hercules killed Geryon, the giant, and the dog, and brought the cattle to King Eurystheus. Labor 11. Take the golden apples of the Hesperides. The Hesperides were nymphs. In their garden grew golden apples protected by Ladon. a dragon with 100 heads. Hercules struck a bargain with Atlas, who held up the earth. Hercules shouldered the earth while Atlas, the nymph's father, fetched the apples. Labor 12. Capture Cerberus. Hercules was ordered to capture Cerberus, the three-headed guard dog of the underworld, without using weapons. Hercules wrestled down the dog's wild heads, and it agreed to go with him to King Eurystheus. Cerberus was soon returned unharmed to the underworld. With all 12 labors finished, Hercules was now redeemed. After a long time, Hercules married a second time to the beautiful Deianira. When Hercules was returning from his last adventure, Deianira gave him a welcome home present. This was a cloak which she had woven herself. Deianira had a magic balm which a centaur had given to her. The centaur told Deianira that anyone who put on the balm would love her forever, but actually the balm contained a caustic poison. This balm she now smeared into the cloak. When Hercules received the cloak and tried it on, his body immediately began to burn with excruciating pain. He tried to pull the cloak off, but the pain burned even harder and deeper. Death, thought Hercules, would be better than unendurable pain. Bellowing in agony, he asked his friends to build a huge pile of wood on top of Mount Ida. This would be Hercules' funeral pyre. He laid himself upon the pyre and told his friends to light it. As the fire began to burn Hercules alive, the great gods looked down from Olympus. Zeus said to Hera that Hercules had suffered enough. She agreed and ended her anger. Zeus sent Athena to take Hercules from the pyre, and she brought Hercules to Olympus on her chariot. There, he would live the rest of his afterlife as a god.
Now for the review part of the video. If you haven't seen the movie, the new Hercules movie yet, and you don't want any spoilers if I actually talk about them, I don't think I will, but just in case, you can stop the video now. But the only thing that I would say is, yes, I do think you should see the Hercules movie. It's actually pretty good, and it has an interesting take on the myth itself, so yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. So if you want to stop the video, go ahead. For those that want to hear what I have to say on the matter, here we go. Well, first of all, yes, it does take an interesting take on it. It doesn't portray the myth as if it was a reality. It kind of takes on a realism kind of thing. Like, the 12 labors are told by people to other people about what Hercules did, except they're basically like the myth that we know of. And and really that's all it is to them. It's just a legend. It's not for fact or anything like that. So mainly it's just exaggerated about what he did. Like the Nemean lion was just a lion. It wasn't anything, what's the word I'm looking for? It wasn't anything special. It was just a really big lion that he was able to kill, and that's about it. The boar was just a boar. The Hydra wasn't really a big 8-headed serpent type thing. It was just a bunch of dudes in helmets. So I thought that was actually really interesting. And his crew, which was I can't remember all their names. I know Atalanta was part of them, and Iolaus was one of them, except, actually, Iolaus was pretty funny. He was the main storyteller, and he never really did anything, which I thought was funny, because in the myth, Iolaus was the one that helped Hercules defeat the Hydra, so I thought it'd be funny if that was, like, done on purpose, that Iolaus was the big storyteller. So obviously, if he was telling the story to people, he would want to make himself sound better by saying that, oh yeah, I was the one that totally helped out Hercules with the Hydra thing, it was totally me. And in fact, it was just it was just a bunch of guys that he could have taken down easily. So I thought that was pretty funny. So yeah, basically all it was just stories that were exaggerated to make Hercules sound like a god, because they needed him to sound like a god, because he needed to um, be the symbol for the people that they could hope for and count on, kind of like our actors of today or superheroes that we have. So I thought it was actually pretty interesting compared to the myth. And with all that being said, yeah, I kind of like it compared to the myth. In fact, in some ways, I like it even more. So, all in all, I think the new Hercules movie did a really good job with the myth. But I found out at the end of the movie, during the credits, it was based off of a comic book. And I had no idea that it was before making this whole thing. So really, what I should have been comparing it to was the comic book. But I have no idea what the comic book was like. So I have no idea whether or not that movie adaptation was actually um, congruent or similar to the comic book in any way. So if anybody is listening to this and they actually read the comic book, I want to know, is it like the comic book? Because if not, then yeah, it would be a poor adaptation. But since I'm just basing it off the myth, I think they did a good job. It was pretty neat to see a myth in realism, and seeing as how the myth is literally just a myth in their world, I thought that was pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty much it. My only final thought is I do like the realism take, but I feel like a lot of mythology movies have been doing that. It's either they do a myth and it's like completely wrong and just dumb, or they turn into realism, but I just don't care as much if it's realism, because that's the whole point of going to a movie in the first place, is to watching something that can't happen. Which, yeah, there was a lot of stuff that happened in the Hercules movie that couldn't have happened, but still, it just didn't do the whole myth. And that's basically what I really want to see at one point, is a mythology movie that's really good and does portray the myth as if it was real, and not just a realistic way the myth should have gone, or could have gone, rather. So yeah, that's basically what I want to see next time from a mythology movie, is mythology, and it done right. Like, it follows the myth, because it's all right there. Like, you can just search up a myth and see everything and just make a script off of that. I really don't understand what's so hard about doing that. But anyway, that little tangent is over. The myth, I really enjoy the myth of 12 Labors of Hercules. Um, it's really cool. Well, cool, it's kind of tragic, but yeah, whatever. I like the myth. I like the movie. The movie was pretty good. So, I would recommend seeing it. Or at least, and it's okay if you want to wait until it comes out on DVD or something to watch it, because it wasn't all that amazing. It was your average movie. Yeah, that's basically it. Thanks for listening, and see you next Monday.